How you going, guys? Welcome to another episode of the FairDinkum podcast. This week's episode is a lads chat, first of many, inshallah, in this 2025. Barisa, Mr. Sunnah Studios, joined us on the pod with Weli and I, and we spoke a lot about content creation and productivity. We spoke a lot about some of the fears that we actually have towards content creation, starting an organization or a company. We spoke about inspirations, who's our inspiration recently. Also, the idea of small talk with coming to network events that Barisa recently organized, and also the early hours run that I'm currently organizing now, and that development, going through that progress of trying to build a community. We spoke a lot about the importance of community and how we can help each other. And inshallah, guys, come down on Sunday mornings, early hours, __. As funny as that sounds, but join us, inshallah. All the boys will be there. And enjoy the episode.
But I'll tell you one thing though, like the good thing about the early hours and these initiatives like Tawfiq with AU Ballers, and I've always said this, one thing I love is when like boys start up something, because you can have two reactions. You can be like, okay, damn, why is that person starting up thing? You know what I mean? And then the other reaction is, and this is the reason why I love it, is because like I'm a person, I believe that I want to do something, an impact or like legacy and stuff like that. So when someone else starts something, it naturally just like elevates my game.
FairDinkum.
They were never going to win anyway, so I don't even want an apology.
I know, but they're talking the most shit out of it the whole year.
If you can believe their delusional side, then I don't know. I'm surprised, bro. They actually believe in it. Honestly. We won it ages ago anyway, bro. But for people that are watching, we have Mr. Barisa back on the podcast. Alhamdulillah. It's been a while. What's going on, bro?
Thanks for having me. Yeah. I've always been here, but
it's been a while, man.
It's good to be on the camera again.
It's been a while, bro. You've been working a lot in the background, alhamdulillah, helping us out, but not only just with the podcast, but there was actually a networking fitness event that we had recently. For the people that are listening, not from Melbourne, we had one in Melbourne, and Mr. Barisa and some other brothers have organized it. And where did the idea come from, bro? Because I know we have like our networking space with like guests was starting to be introduced from other people and starting to find out other circles, but where did this idea come from, bro?
I'll be completely honest with you. I got a bit of the inspiration from some boys in the UK. They started the Muslim Creatives, and I'm like, it would really be good to introduce it here as well, without obviously completely copying the way they do it. But I just felt like there was a space for creatives to come together and to kind of share their skills and what they do, so that we can kind of work together and just create new different initiatives, I guess, here. Yeah. So I feel like there wasn't really many networking events or like opportunities for people to come together, even people who look into wanting to become a creative or into art, like
I don't think there's any,
someone to look up to, you know what I mean?
Melbourne's very isolated, bro.
Yeah, so when I started Sunnah Studios, which is like a media production company that I started, I never took events as an option, but then I'm like, you know what, if I can utilize that section of my company and utilize it to create spaces like this where we can bring people together, I'm like, you know what, this is a perfect idea. So
what was Sunnah Studios meant to be initially?
So Sunnah Studios is just like a videography type of agency. Alhamdulillah, I have a bit of experience in marketing. So I'm like, you know what, let me bring it together. And then I'm like, I've always grown up with doing something for the community. So I'm like, let me add a community aspect to it. And through there, I'm like, you know what, I can do it through events. So I added events. I'm like, you know what, if I can use all three as part of my my business, then I reckon it'll be hectic.
You got a random resume as well, bro.
Yeah, but
you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of that. You know that one photo that people will never ever see of of you in, was it Malaysia?
Thailand.
Doing what?
Was it?
The younger Barisa.
Younger
my
Barisa.
God, I still have that saved.
Yeah, that's not something we should talk about right now. It was funny, yeah, alhamdulillah.
No, but that's still huge, bro. Like, we're not going to show the photo, but like, even just you talk about like what was happening then. How old were you then when you went to Malaysia?
It was Thailand. I think.
Oh, Thailand.
I was
same. No joking. They're very different. I'm sorry. I was
17. Yeah, 17, 18. alhamdulillah, like I took a lot of inspiration from my dad. He kind of pushed me into these things. Yeah, we had a youth organization back in the past, and yeah, we did a lot of work in Thailand.
Well, inspiration how? Like, as in, like, he's well, because from what I know, you're that well-connected, networking type of guy, you know? So when you say inspiration, like, what type of inspiration take from?
Just the amount of effort, how much he gave back to the community back in the days. You know, he was an activist as well. So, like...
For Oromia?
For Oromos, yeah, in general.
Hey.
Politics. Yeah, alhamdulillah, he was an activist, and he done a lot for the community here in Melbourne, as well as overseas. So, like, I just took a bit of inspiration from that, and I'm like, you know what? Let me put myself out there as well. And alhamdulillah, like, I carried on with a lot of his traits, which is good.
Would you say, like, with the... So, this is the second event that we did, the other fitness one. How was the first one for you? Because, like, maybe not a lot of people have seen that this is your second one. How was it organizing, like, this first event? Because it's never happened in Melbourne. You know, it's kind of new for people, and also marketing in a way just to get people to actually come and buy the ticket. How was it going through that process?
Yep. Luckily, we had Ustad Hisham Abu Yusuf in Melbourne. He's, mashallah, he's a wealth of knowledge, you know, even in the field of media. So I'm like, you know what? He's here. We got some amazing local talent like Teddy, subhanAllah. So I'm like, you know what? Let me put them all together. Let me create a space where creatives can come together. Let them network, let them connect with one another, and see what it does. Like, it'll open up a lot of people's eyes. So alhamdulillah, like, that was strictly just for people who are into media. So we done the event. Alhamdulillah, it was very successful. A lot of creatives came, whether you're into videography, photography, you're a content creator, and a lot of people benefited from it. And it opened up my eyes, wallahi. I'm like, you know what? I want to create a community around this. Create a community where, you know, we can kind of handball jobs to each other, where we can kind of teach the next generation as well. Because there'll be up and coming aspiring videographers and content creators, and there really isn't a space where we can help them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this will be a great opportunity, and I took it on, alhamdulillah. And
it's like an untapped market, isn't it?
Technically, yeah. There's a lot of skillful people out there, but no one's bringing them together. Especially in the Muslim community, I kind of chose that niche as well, because we share the same values and we understand one another. So I'm like, you know what? This is a good market to get into, and well, just a lot of benefit came from it. Now, like, I'm seeing, like, we had about 50 people that rocked up to that first event. It was on a Monday. It was on a working day, so it was a bit hard. But I'm seeing brothers who've never met before. They're close mates right now. There's boys who are working together. They signed some crazy production company contracts, working together. I'm like, this, well, it makes me happy. Makes me really happy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm looking forward to creating another one. And we hosted another brother, Jahidu, who came from the UK, and he's into fitness, calisthenics. And similar to the media, like, no one's really kind of tapped into the fitness area. Like yourself, you tapped into the whole running community. So I'm like, you know what? Let me kind of bring it together. Media, content creation, fitness, and just create another networking event. And subhanAllah, we had a lot of people rock up. We had about, I'd say, close to 150 people, including volunteers and sponsors and so. But it just opened up my eyes. I'm like, you know what? There's a space. There's an opportunity where we can bring people together. And
the opportunities are endless. That's like the major thing as well. Because you got to look at it from the young Barisas, so I should look for young Barisas and the young Alis, you know, like when we were younger. Like, you know, there's certain things you can do sometimes and it's like effortless and you have a passion for it, you know, other than sports. You know, sports doesn't require much like energy and stuff. There's some other thing, like you might have been into like something digital, you know, you might have been into something sort of like creative. But at a young age, especially growing up here in Australia and stuff, as a Muslim, whatever, as African, whatever, you look around and you don't really see anyone else like doing it. And then you're in a household where your parents are like, hey, don't worry about it like that. Make sure you're getting into like your university, you know, make sure you're actually doing your homework. Make sure you're actually doing whatever duksi or something along those lines. So they're even... the idea of entertaining those side hustles or those abilities doesn't even exist because they don't understand as in our parents. And then even ourselves, we have no one to sort of like inspire us. And the thing I like about the event is having the skill set is like good enough, and we know this from like the content creator space, like podcast or whatever, you know, anyone can start up and do something. You know, the thing that people often lack is like the action side of things. But the more important thing is like the networking aspect of it, like the collaborations, because you only get so far doing things on your own, you know, whereas when you realize, and then not only that, on top of that, it's like when you're like fixed into this box the whole time, you realize that you only see things from like a certain angle point of the, for words from the UK speaks about this, you know, the echo chamber thing, you know, it's like if you only take opinions from those that are like around you, you're going to hear the constant same things over again. It's the same thing with like what you see and who you're around. You're just going to do the same things over and over again. Whereas networking, what ends up happening is, and I even saw the like the fundamentals of it, even myself when I was there on that night, you know, what ends up happening is you like look at that person, it's like, okay, this person said such and such, I can actually add this to my game now, you know, or this person did that and that, cool, why didn't I do that? You know, you're seeing it like you're in a room in amongst people that constantly want to take action.
Exactly.
Whereas other than those networking events, you're in rooms with people that like dream. You know, everyone always has an idea, but no one wants to action an idea. You know, it's like I seen a TikTok last night talking about how this girl was like, no, not this girl, but I see like a repost or something, you know, and it was like, I could be a millionaire for the amount of times where me and my friend said, hey, we're going to get this done today. You know, it's like everyone outside of like that sort of networking event is like, hey, I can't wait to do this. I won't do this, well, this and that. And it's like, but you don't end up actually ever doing things. Then you get put into a box with the people at the networking event and everyone is actually doing things. And if you're a person of inspiration and like call to action, what ends up happening is you're like, okay, if he can do it, like the iron sharpens iron type of thing. It's like, if he can do it, bro, I can do it too.
Exactly.
It's like, why not?
It's setting the standard, yeah? Because you're so used to, let's say, your same social circle and whatever they're doing, you're thinking you're doing a lot.
Facts.
And then you meet all these other brothers and then they're doing it in their own fitness world, whether it's strongman or running, whatever it is. And you start to realize, oh my God, this brother's posting this much. He's doing this to gauge his audience and marketing. It's like, oh my God, I can actually be doing so much more, or just taking a different route.
Facts.
That's going to actually elevate your game.
The thing is, bro, like every single one of us are talented. We all have our own skill sets, and experiences in our own fields. I feel like with these networking events, and the reason why I've done it is because, you know, you're on the edge of creating a change, entering a new career or whatever, but you need that little push. And I feel like from the feedback that I got from people that came to the event, it's like they heard that one little thing that someone said, that they look up to or whatever, and that kind of, you know, changed the game for them. It's like, all right, that is exactly what I needed, you know what I mean, to take that step.
Definitely. I actually saw a lot of people that I didn't know at the event. I'm not sure how you felt as well as an organizer. Did you know most of the people that went, that bought the tickets, or were there a lot of new faces for you?
I would say I knew 40% of the people there. Wow. I was surprised myself. Okay, I saw about 60% of the people that came, the attendees, were new faces to me, or people that I've never really engaged with. Yeah, I've seen them from afar, but yeah, it was eye-opening, and just hearing different people's stories and what they do and what they want to do.
Was there someone that touched you? Not touched you, but like as in like as in like left you with something that you'll remember from sort of like that night?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, I've always, and I always say this to you guys, I want to kind of get out of the 9 to 5. Yeah. I want to do nothing wrong with 9 to 5, but I want to do something for myself. It'll give me more time to think and learn as I grow. I sometimes need a bit of a kick. Yeah. I just need someone to tell me, hey, just jump into it. Like, just get out of it.
Take that leap.
Take that leap, yeah. And, you know, you can always be motivated, but that motivation can die. So for me, like I heard from a few people telling me, you know, have that faith, risk will come. You'll never know until you try. You can always fall back to a job, you know what I mean? So I think overall, I did take some beneficial, advice from certain people, but yeah, nothing specific, I would say.
Yeah.
You're too busy doing things and taking care of like organizing and stuff. I was actually speaking to one brother there. I'm not going to mention his name just because like I might mention some things about what he was talking about, but I was connecting with him a lot. It's not the same fitness circle that we're in, like in terms of the type of training we do. But he was talking a lot about how much it helped his mental health over the years.
What did?
This brother, like training in general.
Oh, training, yep.
So I'd say the type of training he was doing, he's a bit younger than me as well, early 20s, but he was talking a lot to me about how it changed his mental health and just overall self-confidence, and like how much it's changed his life. And that's why he wants to get into content creation, to kind of get more people going a similar path to him and getting the benefits or similar benefits to what he did. And that's that type of stuff, like hearing it from a younger guy, it's like, wow, I was so similar in that way at his age, and this guy is living a similar life and we can relate, and I've never met this brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's beautiful, because you'd love people to come to these events and meet someone new and be able to resonate and realize, okay, this is why I want to do content creation, or this is why I want to keep doing content creation, because there's brothers out there that I don't know that I can really connect with and also help them change their life. And that was just phenomenal, like to meet that, because we didn't have the most amount of time to meet several brothers on the night, but it just shows the potential, like how many other people there are to meet and create our circles. And honestly, that's one of the things I loved at that event. Yeah,
That's true. And that's the other thing as well, like with those events, it's like, now that it's been done, cool, you can take it to the next level the next time you do it, you know. And the only difference is the fact that you just went out there and sort of did it, you know. But going back to the 9 to 5 thing, yeah, other than obviously the things that people normally think about them, this is for you too, Ali, at the same time, yeah. With the 9 to 5, everyone wants to sort of leave, yeah. Other than money restrictions and overall responsibilities, what is the real reason you don't want to sort of leave that lifestyle? Leave, not live.
I would honestly say, for me, it's just probably the money aspect.
But other than the money, like let's just say you've been given all the money in the world now.
Yep.
Yeah. And your responsibilities have been taken care of. Let's just say it's parents, let's say it's siblings, whatever, cool, gone, you know. What would it be?
Nothing else, to be honest.
Well,
honest.
I'm being honest, because look,
sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
no, it's so good. For me, it's just, I want flexibility, man. Like, you go to work, wherever you work, like sometimes you feel like you're not growing, you're not getting anywhere, and wallahi, time is flying, man. Do you question yourself sometimes? It's like, where am I going? Like, you know,
bro,
what I mean?
all the time. Weeks turn like I was saying this to someone the other day. Yeah, my like perception of time has got so skewed to the point that like a week is almost a month.
Yeah,
you know, like you see the same way the week used to pass back in the days. Yeah. Now it's like a month has passed. Like yesterday, literally, it was the start of the year, and then after we're redesigning the studio, looking at ways. You were just going to Pakistan. You know what I mean? You're going on a holiday. This, that. You know, this guy back, and it's like. And now we're deep into it, and we're the 6th month of the year. So where does time go?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, you we're only here for a short time, yeah? So what you should do is like, and what I do is from time to time is paint a picture, yeah? Like, where do you see yourself going? Where do you want to be? Like, the Barisa in 20 years, like, I don't want to be just sitting in an office doing the same thing for the next 20 years, you know what I mean? I want to be able to expand, get into the whole community aspect, charity aspect. You know, you can do so much when you're flexible. Well, and you can see it from other content creators and all those out there.
Bro, I think honestly with flexibility, I do agree, but with flexibility in time comes creativity. That's what I think. Okay. And I don't like, for example, I feel it, let's say on the weekends or days off work where you have more time, you're doing other things, your days not the same every day, yeah? That's where I feel like my creativity develops slowly. Whereas when I'm working 9 to 5, it's kind of the same thing. It becomes a bit mundane. You know, you do a lot of things subconsciously without like realizing as well. And I feel like I lose a bit of creativity. And that's where it's beautiful, like in the future, whatever happens, Allah only knows, like in terms of working for yourself and working on your time and getting these opportunities to be creative, to think outside the box, having these events or having other things like people are now doing Umrah trips and all these other trips that, you know, building community in different ways. I think creativity is like by far the most important thing you need to hold on to.
Facts, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, especially when you're in this field as well, in the field of media, marketing,
exactly.
Doing your own business and stuff.
Entrepreneurship and that, yeah.
Yeah, you can continue. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, but one thing like I'm starting to realize as well is you've got to appreciate there's like early moments before like sort of like jumping gun, like everything sort of like the cliche saying everything sort of happens for a reason. The thing with that other lifestyle, like beyond the 9 to 5 and whatnot, is a lot of like discipline, a lot of self accountability. You really got to know yourself. Awareness is like required in that sense, because obviously now you don't have like a boss. You don't have someone telling you what to do. You don't have like a structure. You don't have goals. You have to create those goals for yourself, you know? Whereas in the 9 to 5 or whatever, when you're working for someone, family, friend, this, that, you're following a system. And in life, it's easy to follow a system. And the thing is, I feel like the people that do the best is those people that have had the 9 to 5. They've had almost that like wake up call, that thing where it's like, okay, cool, I want to do something beyond me. But they went through that rigorous system beforehand that set them up for the life beyond the 9 to 5. Because that life beyond the 9 to 5, what ends up happening is, bro, no 2 days the same thing, you know? And then what ends up happening is alarm clocks out of the window right now. So you're going to have to wake up early in the morning on your own. You're going to have to cook or whatever, all of that kind of stuff for yourself. But then also in terms of holding yourself accountable, you know? Like we even see this, bro, with like sort of like the podcast as well. You know, because we've always said this for the longest time, like the podcast, like the reason it's, I guess it's done well, I don't know how else you put it, I don't think it's like whatever, is the fact that like we genuinely sit on the podcast and we enjoy good conversations, you know? So when people look at it from, oh, you're content creators and all that, like we don't, like I know myself personally, I don't align with it, you know? And the reason before that is we've only operated at 1%. So what does that other 99% look like? And the reason we haven't operated on that other 99% is because we all come from a lifestyle where it's like we've followed a system for our lives, you know? And then to take this ship to the whole next level, yeah, that's where that accountability, that drive and all that kind of stuff is sort of like required. But everything in life sort of happens at its certain point, you know? You can't sort of like rush it, you know?
Yeah, because things come in the way. Like we all have different lives, you know, different responsibilities in our lives. And that's where the juggling with the podcast with other things over the years, look, you have bumps in that because it's like, especially when it's something new and it's like a bit of an overwhelming feeling. It's like, oh my God, you know, how do I deal with this? How does anyone really deal with this? This is crazy. But then I think our systems as well have kind of kept us in place. And that's like honestly a testimony to us, because they talk about most podcasts people try to start, it doesn't last for that long.
What's the stat? Like 97% fail after 7 episodes.
Yeah, about 7 episodes, which is, alhamdulillah, crazy compared to what we've been doing. But it just shows like, I think it's good what we're saying, because we're trying to paint a picture of us as an example, podcasters, what we're doing. Alhamdulillah, we've come a long way as well, but there are bumps in the road. We are human. So I think people like listening and they haven't been to a network event can kind of get an idea, if they were to go to a network event, meeting other brothers and stuff like that, realize, okay, these people are quite similar to myself. That they're on this path of content creation. We want to learn a bit more. We want to elevate our lifestyle, work for ourselves if possible, and try find what works. Yeah.
Just going back to what we were talking about before, like I guess it all comes back to comfort. You know, and like,
is that your thingy for the other than the responsibilities and money and stuff? It's comfort, yeah.
It's comfort, yeah, correct. As in like if you're working 9 to 5, you're comfortable, you're earning a decent salary amount. You know what I mean? But it's like, is it called firefight mode? Yeah,
firefight mode.
It's like when you're in that situation where you're in control of your life. First of all, you're in control of your salary and everything. So it's like, all right, I gotta wake up and I gotta work. I gotta work hard. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. So you're growing in a way, and you're building your skills and stuff. You know, but when you're just stuck to the same routine, it's like
facts.
You're not growing. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But yeah, man. Wallahi, that's the biggest thing about networking. Just connecting with different type of people. And I made it my intention last year. You know, I said, you know what, this is the next year. I want to actually travel. I want to start a new initiative, which I did. Onedeen, if anyone's seen that online. And
we got to talk about onedeen too. Yeah. So I just wanted to connect with as many brothers as I can as possible
overseas. Sit down with them for a coffee, just listen to what they say, and wallahi, it helps you grow as a person. So it sounds very cliche, but wallahi, just put yourself out there, man. Put yourself out there and just connect with anyone. You know, follow them on social media, connect, talk. What ideas can you share, and vice versa? You know, what you have something to offer as well. You know what I mean? So I think it's important, man. And inshallah, we're gonna keep creating more spaces and environments like this, and as well for sisters as well. So I feel like
What are you trying to do for sisters?
no, not like I'm not gonna get too involved, but like at least if I can initiate it, create that space for them to come together,
Definitely.
and they can do things as well. You know, we shouldn't just generalize and just keep it to men, but
agree.
they, mashallah, they're very talented as well. You know, they can do a lot. So I feel like creating more initiatives like that for them as well would be really good.
They need it, man.
Definitely. But let's talk about this onedeen that you've been doing for a while now, alhamdulillah. One thing that is really impressive, what I've seen on Barak, is that it's global. And I think it's actually amazing because people might see it as like, oh, it's just a 30-second clip of one question. But for you, you're actually bringing communities from different parts of the world together, which is unreal. Because in the long term, if not even like a few years, who knows, you're bringing these communities together, like UK and Australia, for example. And that's where we grow together. That's where like the abundance mentality comes in, yeah? Like how we can all get a piece of the pie. We can all be successful by supporting each other and just creating this big, huge circle. So how's that journey been with onedeen?
It was good. We started off in Sydney. Alhamdulillah. Shout out to the Vision Ummah. Yeah, they created a workshop up in Sydney last year at One Path. And I got a lot of inspiration from it as well. But I'm like, look, I'm into media. I like content creation. I love traveling. So how can I put it all together? How can I bring it together? And I'm like, you know what? Let me just get a mic. Let me get a mic out and just interview people. Interview. I don't want to really put my face out there because I don't want to be like the main image. I want to get other people to talk. You know what I mean? They can share their experiences. Give it even in terms of da'wah as well. They can give a bit of tips and gems for people. So I'm like, let me just get out there, and at the same time, it's good for me because I get to network as well, get to connect with new people. And yeah, I'm like, I started off here. Alhamdulillah, I spoke to influential people, but then it's not always about influential people. It's about just the community in general.
Everyday Joe.
Yeah, the everyday Joe. So I started it here, and then I went overseas, and wallahi, it was an amazing experience, man. You know, putting a mic in front of someone and just asking them a question about what's one life experience that's been like impactful, or like what's something that, like, if you could go back to your younger years, what would you change? People take inspiration from it.
Bro, I love those. Like, sometimes I can go on binges of like listening, because the thing is, everyone has a story.
Yeah,
everyone's from a different walk of life, and you don't know what sort of answer you can get from like a short, simple sort of question, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like, it's so like revealing to it, you know? Has there been one that's like stood out to you? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot when I say stuff like that.
No, I like it. It's good. That's a good question.
Because I remember one, like, for example, I remember like, because there's onedeen, there's like Dose of Society, they have their own version and stuff like that, you know? And I love like those ones, you know? It's because there's an aspect of it that's very, very similar to doing podcasting, you know? Because podcasting is long form conversation, yeah? Where this one is a question and answer in short form, which is like, cool, what's going to come out of it, you know?
But the thing is, it goes straight to the deep question.
Straight to the deep question, exactly. And then, guess what? I don't know, me personally, I feel like I can filter it out sometimes when someone sort of gives an answer where it's like, no disrespect, you know, this has nothing to do with like onedeen or nothing, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Sometimes there's one question, it's like, okay, cool, I can tell this is a gem straight out of a book, you know? And then there's the ones where it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a soft guy, bro. Like the ones where it's like, so when it's like impact moment and it relates back to like a family or like an interaction with someone, and it's like, okay, cool, this like changed like my perspective on things, you know, like, because we even say that on the podcast, you know, like I remember one of my favorite episodes this year was the Tawfiq episode, you know, because there was this point in the episode where we hadn't met Tawfiq before that. He was just one of the boys, we're seeing him, we know his story, cool, bah, you know what I mean? For the first segment of the podcast, it was just general conversation, it was good, you know? But then there was this one question about like, how did it feel in that moment when you sort of almost like lost anything? And he gave like a true raw response, you know, like I felt like a waste man. My family was looking at me like that. You see, when people can depict or sort of articulate their answers in a way like that, where you feel like you know what they've went through without actually being there, they're the ones that I love the most, you know? Whereas the ones where it's like, yeah, cool, like strive for good, help people. It's like, bro, shush, man. Like,
But I think those questions that you love so much because it instantly connects you with that person.
correct.
It feels like, hey, I know you now. I know what you've been through. I kind of feel that feeling that you're going through.
I can relate to you.
And that's what
Yeah.
people are looking for. That's why it does so well on social media because people
Correct.
are yearning for deep connections. And from that one question, it can be like, oh my God, I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
And that's what people are looking for.
And that's social media in a nutshell. You know, like in terms of, you know, when everyone says, oh, like because we've been asked, oh, I want to start a podcast. It's like, how do we do this? You know, I want to do this video, but how do you do this and all that, you know? And then the first thought that comes to a person's mind is, okay, but who's going to watch me? Yeah. And the funniest thing is, like, you guys know Emma Chamberlain? Like that girl that just sits there, she has a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She just sits there and she's like
real basic.
yeah, real basic. She's like the show Friends.
Yeah.
Where it's a podcast or YouTube blog about nothing. But she gets constant banging views. She's got deals with Spotify, all of this kind of stuff. Because if someone can watch Emma Chamberlain, no disrespect to the average like white girl and blonde hair and everything, you know. But if someone can watch Emma Chamberlain for like an hour on end without feeling bored or something like that, I can guarantee you can bring some sort of value. Because obviously, in your point of perspective, you're thinking, what am I going to do? Whereas other people just like live, going back to your point, vicariously, whatever the word is, they live through the lens of other people. So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some sort of connection. And this is what I say to like Ali as well with like even, and I want to relate this to like early hours as well. You know, it's like the people that come to like early hours and they go to like run club and something like that. It's like everyone wants to feel a sense of importance. There's a book here. No, it's actually not here at the thingy. The 7 Habits of Highly like effective people or whatever, yeah. And one of the things earlier on he speaks about is how everyone wants to feel a sense of appreciation or like their presence being like known there. Look, we're speaking this pardon lesson as well. A simple thing like as an imam or someone that's a center of a community is like remembering a person's name. Like you're gonna meet a million people, yeah. But once you remember their name, it's almost like okay, you solidified that like, hey, you want to have some sort of connection. Going back to the social
deeper, yeah.
Going back to the social media thing as well. It's like, okay, cool. When I go back to this community and I feel a part of this like brotherhood, like early hours, it's like I feel like a sense of like importance,
Belonging,
you know?
yeah.
Belonging,
Yeah,
you know?
belonging is the right word. I think we need more like we were saying before, the events are good as well and they should keep going. But then that's like, in a way, once off or not as often. Whereas if you go to like a local gym, for example, and you know you're going to see a certain amount of people that you see often, it's like, oh yeah, what's going on, man? What are you training? How's it going? How's the diet? All that kind of stuff. That's where you feel that belonging. It's like you're connecting with someone. It's like you start to relate to each other. And that's something I've been slowly building with the Run Club. And that's what it makes it so interesting because there's people from all walks of life. Like there's 1 or 2 brothers that came down from the West hearing from the podcast. They're probably listening to this. Shout out Hamza and Mustafa.
Shout out Musti and Hamza too, but
Musti's from Birmingham.
he's from Birmingham.
And Hamza's straight from South Africa.
Yeah.
So Somali brothers, Allah Mubarak. So like I didn't even know they were coming. And it's just a perfect example where it's like I meet these brothers and I just feel so connected with them because we're going through the same motion, you know, going through morning exercise and the difficulty of it and talking about, you know, progressing into the next thing we want to do. And that's why it makes it so important.
I have 2 questions for you, yeah, especially surrounded around the Run Club stuff. What is the thing, like for example, like Musti and Hamza, whatever, cool, Mustafa, sorry, they've taken the initiative to rock up to like sort of the Run Club. What's the thing, or like what's the reason people are sometimes hesitant to sort of do this and like rock up? Is it a sense of FOMO?
I think it's a sense of not looking like fit, you know, struggling a lot because a lot of us, including myself, when I used to think of running, my relationship of the term running was like pre-season running. It's like very difficult, very strenuous. So when they think, oh my God, why am I going to get up after Fajr to do this like strenuous type of running, sprinting? And that's where people are struggling and trying to fathom like that there are other options of like so-called easy runs, conversational runs. So I think it's more of that aspect. And also there's the element of, you know, staying up after Fajr is not easy on a Sunday because you have to sleep early on a Saturday night or even just sacrifice a bit of sleep. So I think those 2 elements is where most people are slowly trying to overcome to rock up to the events. And like we said in other episodes, yeah, even if people haven't listened to the past episodes,
Which you suck. Go back and listen to the episode, by the way, while we're here.
there'll be more Ledge chats coming, inshallah, as well. 120 members in the group, yeah? I'm going to keep saying this one. You know what that is?
That's crazy.
Because I
That's
know
crazy.
the potential's there, yeah? I'm going to keep mentioning it. And inshallah, there'll be a weeknight run that we'll do. And who knows, we'll probably get more brothers because after work and whatnot, it's a bit easier. But the potential's there, and we're getting about 6, 7 in the morning because it's like 7 degrees, 7 a.m. as well, which is like ridiculous conditions and timing. So it's not easy. It's going to get colder as well. But it just shows the potential of community and also seeing like other people doing the same thing as you, which keeps me going as well. I'm not the one trying to show off like, oh, I'm running this many Ks, come catch me. You know, it's
Bro,
more
for
just me.
all we know, you probably don't even want to run some mornings as well. Some
Bro.
Sunday mornings, you're like, but damn, now there's some brothers that are rocking up. They said in. You're like, bro.
I have to, man.
It's a good position to be in because he's a role model now.
Yeah.
He has to lead by example.
I'm the organizer, bro. Imagine
You
the
have to be
organizer doesn't
there.
rock up. It's like,
Correct.
who's this guy? He's
It's too
organizing.
bad.
He's not serious.
And you know what's funny? That's if there's one thing I took away from the event, the networking event, it's that exact same point there, where it's like when you do content like early hours and then you combine it with an initiative, and then that initiative serves the people, what ends up happening is you've created a sense of accountability. You've put it out there to the world or put it out there to the people. So what ends up happening is you've got two options. You either act on it or you don't.
Yep.
And guess what ends up happening is like your reputation is like the most important currency, guys. You know what I mean?
It's going to be tarnished.
So I'm gonna look at Ali. I'm gonna be like, bro, this guy's a gazelle if he's like missing every morning.
Exactly,
You know?
bro. It's so true, man.
And to add to what you said as well, I think a lot of people are like, we've got to accept there's people who are introverted in the community who are a little bit shy, and they're uncomfortable, whether it's body image or just fitness or just lack
Striking
of...
a conversation.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
facts.
true. We do know brothers that will only come with another brother, and that's okay.
That's the thing.
It's just how they are.
And
I know one.
there are followers as
YK.
well. Huh?
That's what I was referring to him, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, there are people who are followers, so they'll wait for someone else to go.
Yeah, naturally.
But I think for you, Allahumma barik, like you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
It's if you can provide that consistency, which you are doing, you've been doing it for, mashallah, is it a year now? Has it been a
Yeah,
year?
I would say about a year.
Then
Which
by
is crazy.
by all means,
But
people,
over a year.
Yeah,
Over a
it's-
year.
Is it?
Well, Ashraf was here and you guys did the
we had
run
the
in
convo a while
Palestine.
ago.
Look, yeah, Palestine run was like, I'll
was
say
this?
around the start of it.
The start of that's over
So
a
yeah,
year.
over a year.
Yeah.
Wow, subhanallah. Okay.
Time flies, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get a sense of belonging, I guess. So
True.
that sense of community is very important, wallah. And having an initiative like this, bro, we're gonna get those 100 brothers out.
Inshallah,
Yeah.
man. Because there's actually like another event I'm organizing, inshallah, July 13, 10K Run Melbourne. We can put the link in the description, inshallah, if people want to join. But at the moment, we've got like 6 brothers coming down. And you guys know you came to like some
I'm
running
coming.
events. Of course, Weli's coming.
By the way,
Bruce is coming. He hasn't booked yet, but he will.
he will be coming as well. If
10K
you can,
Ahmed's coming.
if you can outpace me, if you can beat, like, because currently on it, it's 10K, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can beat me, because I've got like a 3.4 kilometer, like, or whatever. If you can beat me on that day, what are we going to, I'll give him like $100. We'll see you there.
Give a FairDinkum top. $100, bro. This guy, that coming from your pocket, bro. Yeah, but brothers that want to join, inshallah, I think first running event, they'll realize what an atmosphere it is. And obviously there's like the rise of like Australian wellness clubs, and people, they understand the benefits of all the morning exercise and that. But bro, if we start doing it, we have barakah in our life that we're looking for. And the more barakah we have in our life, it'll elevate in other aspects as well. And that type of stuff, like, we just need more of it, man.
Yeah, we do.
What would you say in terms of the barakah effect, in terms of waking up early and being productive in the morning? Because I struggle with that as well. I used to be a morning person like years ago, but I just can't, man. I wake up, have a shower after Fajr, and then go straight to work, yeah? What has changed for you ever since you've started to wake up early and be productive in the mornings?
I think the main thing for me, especially alhamdulillah, like being married now, you appreciate that time on your own, and having that time to actually think about what you want to do in your day before the world basically starts. Yeah, you have that time. It's quiet. You know, your mind's quiet as well because it's before consuming things so quickly. Quick dopamine. You're thinking about what you want to do, how you want to set things out, and you're not looking. Like in terms of time in your day, you're not struggling to find the time, yeah? You make the time. So once I've made the time in the morning for the first thing that's difficult, after that, I've made the time for all these other things because it's all set out. It's like, I'm set, okay, sweet. I'm going to be doing, because I'm 9 to 5, I'm going to be doing this before work. I'm going to be doing that after work. And yeah, you guys know 9 to 5, you have to have more structure in your time. If not, you feel like you're just playing catch up. And that's got to be one of the worst feelings. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's really tough. I still go through and stuff, but then that's why I'm doing the Sunday runs. And people keep saying, you know, why don't you do it a bit later? Like, it's so early. Why are you doing it so early? But then I think once people try once or twice, they start to see and feel the barakah, inshallah. They start to also see the barakah in the rest of their day, how much time they have extra for doing all the other things. So I think, inshallah, when Barisa eventually comes down,
Look,
I've
been busy, you know.
No, it's alright. You're doing a lot, bro. I'm about it.
Yeah, but because I'm a late sleeper.
Yeah.
I sleep like
it's hard, bro.
Like 12-1 sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard, bro. It's honestly, I'm on like 5 hours sleep now, so like it's difficult on a Sunday. I think getting brothers on the weeknight would be nice as well. I think because a lot of 9 to 5ers trying to build that community in different ways because it's not for everyone as well. I know it, like obviously there is barakah and stuff, but it's like not something you have to do, but it's just something you should just try. You know, if you want to make changes in your own life, you want to actually try new things, try things that you've never done before, and then possibly those changes come through that. So
yep. And how do you balance all this with sleep? Do you like, what time do you sleep, for example? Because look, yes, we're used to it obviously with Fajr and stuff, but like obviously you can't just sleep at 1 o'clock and then run 5 kilometers at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
it's a bit tricky.
I think with sleep, with me, you know, if it's actually a routine of yours to be getting up, you know, 5, 6 a.m. every day, you're going to have to sacrifice sleep the first 2 days before getting into the routine fully. Because once you know how it is, yeah, you sleep late, but then you also have to wake up early for something. Like let's just say, for example, a flight. If you sleep at 2 a.m., guaranteed you're going to wake up 4 or 5 a.m. still for that flight because you're going to do whatever it takes. So for that, you have to think of in a way, how much do I want this routine? What am I going to get out of this routine? How am I going to make more time for the things that are more important to me? I'm still struggling to this day. I'm saying I'm still in the process. But that's why you have to make that sacrifice for a day or so just to finally get in that routine. And really, it's just trying new things because I'm still going through it. You're still in the process. It's never a perfect routine. I think when it comes to like Ashton Hall and all these other TikTokers and stuff like that we were talking about the other week, they're coming across with you have to have this perfect routine before getting up early or getting up at a crazy hour of the morning to have your perfect morning routine for a perfect day. I think you do whatever works for you, and then that's where it starts. You have to prioritize, and then because you've seen it, bro, Ashton Hall and that. Like, what the hell's going on there, bro?
I think with the whole Ashton Hall thing, I don't want to get too deep into that, but like, I feel like a majority of it is unrealistic.
Exactly.
Who wakes up and is that active at 4 a.m.? Like, that's very unrealistic. Like,
and what's the need to get up that early?
I believe in my boy Ashton Hall. I stand by Ashton Hall, bro. This guy was at like an NBA game. Like
Yeah, I saw that. How late was that, bro?
Very late for him, you know what I mean? But he was still there up in the morning, you know what I mean? So you tell me, man.
Yeah, no, for me, it's just like he full had a shower, got dressed proper, just to go play tennis.
Yeah, facts.
It's just unrealistic, man. It's just too
I
far.
have a random question for you guys. Do you think when things like, for example, the gorilla thing that's going on at the moment, yeah? Ashton Hall. Now, what's the other current social media trend that's been coming back? The ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, it's come back again.
It's come back again, yeah? Do you think when this sort of stuff happens, we're getting distracted from something else that's almost bigger that's happening? Like Ashton Hall, bro, he took over the internet for like a week.
Yeah, it was insane.
But I've seen kids in Gaza, bro, putting their head in like the thing and showing their day, you know?
The question I have with that is, what sparked it? Like, because I've been following him for years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like everyone's just onto it.
But you knew Ashton Hall before Ashton Hall?
Really?
Yeah, I was following him because I just liked his routine and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
it's satisfying to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sounding like him.
What was satisfying about it?
No, because you're seeing how perfect the routine is. Like, I want to do that.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like an
it's
ideal
true, bro.
life, yeah.
That's how it is. That's why people do their morning routines and they
Facts.
get so many views.
That's
because
true.
It's like I want a routine like that.
He's very aesthetic.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
like,
just,
think
it's
about
just
it.
very appealing
Yeah,
to watch.
correct.
Every morning you open your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
What's well?
But like,
What-
huh?
You said wow, like what? Like as in
Chill. Yeah, don't take it like that. Yeah.
no.
No, we didn't mean it like that.
Huh?
I mean like
No, like you say, it's aesthetic. It's appealing.
That's true,
It's
yeah.
nice to watch.
like
as well.
it's like the life that you almost somewhat want to live. Someone who's
You want to get there.
Yeah, structured, routine.
In a way, yeah.
So what's the other way?
I don't know. But anyways, listen.
We'll let you have that.
Yeah, the question I have is like, what sparked it to just
Go
But
super
become a
viral.
trend? Yeah.
I think
I think people. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
when people start to repost and find out how absurd it is. Why was he always doing 3 a.m., 4 a.m.?
I think he was
Was
doing
it recent?
five.
no, but that's not the bit that's absurd though. The bit that was absurd was the whole water, ice, and banana thing.
And I thought it was also the camera angles of like predicting that he's gonna drop something.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Yes.
People
Or
start to realize, oh my god, he's
not serious.
he's pre-planning a breaking something. It's like who
Correct,
the heck
yeah.
does that in this world
Mm.
of social media?
And then there's like the camera angles of him going into the bath with his socks on, you know,
Yeah,
or he's having a shower with his AirPods in. You know, it's like, and you got to give it to him from a content point of perspective. The things that do well on social media is stuff that can like create discourse. Like that's the other thing with
Curiosity,
like
yeah.
curiosity. You know, conversation. Okay, cool. But what would happen actually in this case? You know, and if those conversations are continually sparked, bro, it becomes eventually sort of like a trend. You know, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, everyone wants to put a banana on their face now. They don't want to, but it's like they take the piss out of the mick out of it. You know, so it's like one of those things.
It's funny, but you have a point. I think in terms of it being like a distraction to something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what else is going on in the world?
So that's what you tell me, bro. UFOs are probably coming into place. You know what I mean? You got Kashmir in India at the moment. That's pretty hot at the moment. You know,
That's true. That's true.
Man.
you know, World War III is looming. You know what I mean? I want to have a conspiracy conversation with someone, but we won't go down that route. I have a question that was relating back to networking, early hours, and stuff like that. I'll get your guys' opinion on this. Do you think small talk is rampant nowadays? Like people don't know how do you converse, and then what ends up happening? Because I don't know about you, but I hate small talk. Like I can't like stand it. And if I'm being honest, sometimes at like networking events or like let's just say you go to a run with the community and stuff, you know, you have to face that small talk for a certain period of time, you know. And some people just don't know how to converse. So it's like, okay, cool. I don't feel like a sense of belonging. Let me not be here. You know, what's your thoughts?
I think it's asking the right questions. I've seen people now. There's actually a lot of people on TikTok starting accounts talking about communication skills and avoiding the small talk. It's
Correct.
something definitely I want to work on. Like
Yeah.
I feel like alhamdulillah with the podcast over years we're not too bad. But then obviously you get the occasional conversation where it's like, oh my god, what should I do here? What should I ask this question? But I think it's just asking the right questions. Like for example, asking, oh, what do you do with your spare time? Or how do you like to use your spare time? Instead of asking, oh, what do you do for work? Like a basic question.
True.
I think it's just really wording the type of questions that you want to ask, because we all deep down know we want to get to the right thing, the deep questions you want to ask about certain topics, but it's like, how do I do it without putting someone on the spot? You also want to make them feel comfortable.
It's like a sincerity thing. Like
Yeah.
when you ask that question in that sort of environment, do you actually mean what you're asking? Like, are you
Yeah.
curious to hear the answer, or are you just asking it for the sake of feeling that sort of like awkward silence? Because that's what small talk translates to me.
Yeah,
It's
it
like-
does. It does.
It's like awkward silence in that moment. It's like, oh, it's so like jarring. And then let's just say you're in a position where sometimes you don't really want to socialize like that. You know, what ends up happening is that conversation becomes somewhat strenuous. You know, it's like, okay, I have to sort of like bear through this.
It's really finding like that, I want to say middle ground, but more of like the mutual interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or like you at least finding an interest in asking them more questions about this topic and delving deep into their interest.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, that's how it breaks the ice and out of the small talk and stuff.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah. But then these events, like it makes it a lot easier because you're at an event, you know exactly why you're at the event. You know exactly why this guy's at the event.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it easier. Yeah.
That's very true. I know. Straight
Yeah,
up.
I agree as well.
What do you think, Bristol?
I think I'm still a bit confused in terms of
The question?
small talk, because it can be kind of described in many ways. Yeah,
Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you do? How do you see it?
small talk as in
Like how Ali said it before, in the sense that like, oh, how's your day? How's your week? What do you get up to for work? Those type of like conversations and stuff, you know, where they just, it's almost like it's like a tennis match where it goes bang, 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 bang.
or rather than having like impactful chats, you mean?
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have to be deep, but it's like you walk away from that conversation, it's like, oh, that person was like cool and stuff. And I feel like an aspect of it is you sort of need to know how do you talk about yourself.
Yeah, that's
You know?
true.
Without sounding like arrogant. Or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah, exactly. You know, it's like, oh, like
that's a hard thing to
make
do
yourself
as
so
well.
almost sound interesting that you want to continue that conversation.
I agree.
You know?
And yeah, it's something that I've been trying to battle because, all right, like you put on a networking event or whatever, you organize something, and then people start asking you questions, and it's like you don't want to just keep talking about yourself.
Yeah.
So the way I'm trying to navigate around it is, how can I have a conversation with someone where I can say something impactful as well, and I can leave them with something as well. That's how I see things now, and that's how I want to, move forward. Is like have a nice conversation with someone or whatever, but it's not always about you. You know what I mean? So try to refrain about talking about what you do and what you've achieved, and rather, depending on the person, try and get something out of them as well. That's how I see it.
You realize that if you really speak to someone and you have a conversation with them and you ask them maybe one question about themselves, they can go on for a while continually talking about themselves. You know, you watch how much the conversation shifts when you, not maybe something as simple as what about you, but when you say something that relates back to them, and it almost gives them like a sense of sort of like importance in this conversation.
Yeah.
You
This
know?
person's taking interest in what I'm doing.
Facts. It all goes back to the comfort thing. When you're talking, it's easy to talk about yourself. You know, it's like, oh, you don't know this person. You don't want to have that possible awkward silence or that little awkwardness down the line. So it's like, okay, let me refrain from that. But what ends up happening, it becomes like somewhat stagnant. But what Ali said before, he's so right. It's the communication skills, being able to communicate. That's the other thing, you know, being likable, all of that, you know.
I think it's been a blessing for us, like podcasting over the years, recognizing, like having conversations, sitting down on a couch and accepting like the conversation's not about you. I find that very interesting because I think a lot of people are on the other side of social skills in terms of maybe just, consuming so much that there's a lack of deep conversations or even getting the opportunities for it.
Hey.
So that's why, like, they even say, I see some videos online, people like the need for people to pick up a camera and talk to the camera, or even doing a podcast with your mates. Doesn't have to go public, but just getting used to speaking like on a mic or a camera and just having the opportunity to have a conversation back and forth with someone, recognizing, okay, what I'm talking about, am I talking too much about myself? Am I asking enough about the next person?
True.
How am I continuing that conversation? And I think those type of things are actually super important. I think we're quite blessed to have these opportunities, but
not everyone is as much.
yeah. So I think it's been good. I think that's why it's important, especially with us going to the events, going to the other places, seeing people. People are going to say, Sunnah Studios guy. They're going to say podcasts, and your conversation or how interesting that conversation with that person, they're going to remember about that guy. It's like they leave the conversation, oh my God, that was a good conversation. MashaAllah, Weli was a good guy. Like, I enjoyed talking to these guys. And that's what matters in terms of your brand. And yeah, so that's why like small talk for us as well is just as important.
Yeah, I agree. Weli, I have a question for you. Looking at things from the outside,
Oh yeah.
in terms of early hours, networking events, media, creatives, and what we've been working on lately, what's something that you reckon we can kind of work more on? How can we be more impactful? Just looking from the outside.
I think which you guys are doing, and I would suggest to continually do it, is having that consistency of continually showing up. Because I know I relate from the early hours. I haven't been to many of the early hours ones. Do I want to be at the early hours ones? I want to be there every single weekend. Wallahi, especially after like starting running and stuff. And it's not a matter of like showing up and stuff, and it's sometimes life gets ahead of like you know what I mean, like timing and this and that, and it all goes back to me poor planning, whatnot, you know. But the thing I appreciate about early hours so much is the fact that, like, regardless of what's going on in everyone else's world, it's there.
It's still happening.
It's still happening. Yeah. So I know for a fact that, like, for example, I've said into the checklist so many times, and we're having a laugh about this that night we ran during Ramadan with Hazik, yeah? It was like, I've said in so many times, I do that like as almost like a self-accountability thing, you know what I mean? Rather than saying, hey, I want to go this Sunday morning, let me click in on the checklist. So then what ends up happening is some people might have seen it and they might say, oh, Abdulli's coming type of thing. Cool, you know? So then if I don't come, I'm like pounded for that, you know?
You guys lost the plot.
And I get smashed for that, you know? And then I'm like, can you not stop doing your cheeky laughs? And yeah, when I say in, then I'm sort of held to like a sense of accountability. And I'm like, okay, Paul, let me actually like sort of like rock up, you know? Anyway, it wasn't until that day with like Hazik where he goes, oh, Weli's coming, boom, you know what I mean? But that day I didn't plan to come. And you remember I told you there was a million things that went wrong that day. I still like rocked up. Yeah. So go back to, without being a long wind or whatever, the answer is being there regardless of what is going on in your sort of like schedules and stuff. Like early hours, regardless of the Sundays, continually do it, you know? And then the other thing as well is like going back to what I took away from like the event of like the networking is people are going to doubt you. There's going to be like a negativity. There's also going to be that thought of, hey, there's 120 people in the chat, but there's only 4 people that rocked up. Like maybe this is what the community needs, you know? But when in reality it's like, it is, but maybe it's like an Australian thing or something where people don't voice their opinion, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's especially when something is not completely successful, it's hard to support it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because of that whole like FOMO thing and that sheep mentality and stuff. So regardless of the noise that's going on, continually still do it. Like the fact that like Sunnah Studios went from one event and then bounced back like a month and a half later or whatever, 2 months with another event is like, that's the thing that's needed. It's like the consistency of regardless of sort of what's going on, you know?
I agree, yeah.
So that's what I would say from the outside, man.
That's so true. And it's like how they say, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you end.
Facts.
And obviously we all want to build a legacy. You know, we want to create something. And unless you handball it, we're going to just keep consistent, just keep doing things. So,
and yesterday already happened. That's the other thing as well. Like whatever went wrong the day before, that period before, already happened. It's like now going forward, what are you going to do with like sort of the cards that you've been dealt with? You know, you can either be like, okay, cool, bogged down about it, or then you could just like create something bigger and better. And I say that even from just from a like podcast point of perspective, you know, like look at Faisal, for example. There was a period where he wasn't doing the podcast, you know what I mean? And Faisal was in the game like very, very early on, like pre-2019 and stuff like that. And then boom, out of nowhere, what does Faisal come out with? He's got a whole new studio in Dubai. He's got bigger and better plans. He's got investors and stuff like that. The other thing is like when that like sort of musibah, the hardship, or like you hit that brick wall, instead of like being, okay, khalas, let me like just allow it, like redirect, focus, and then like go and attack from there on, you know, rather than thinking. But I'll tell you one thing though, like the good thing about the early hours and these initiatives like Tawfiq with AU Ballers, you know, and I've always said this, you know, one thing I love is when like boys start up something, because you can have 2 reactions. You can be like, okay, damn, why is that person starting up thing? You know what I mean? And then the other reaction is, and this is the reason why I love it, is because like I'm a person, I believe that I want to do something, you know what I mean, an impact or like legacy and stuff like that. So when someone else starts something, it naturally just like elevates my game. I get inspired by it somehow or whatnot, you know, and like Ali creates a whole new network. When he does that, you create a whole new network. This person does that. And it's like that Teddy model, you know, like Teddy, regardless of what walk of life that person is, he interacts with them, you know, rather than just being closed off and stuff like that, you know?
I agree, yeah. And that's one takeaway that I got from the networking events as well. and one piece of advice I'd say to the audience is for those who want to actually start something or start up a new initiative or whatever, just wallahi, just put your wholehearted trust in Allah and just go for it. Look, I took inspiration from Ali. I'll be honest with you. I took inspiration from many brothers in the community, and I just said, you know what, let me just start it. You know, I didn't like putting myself on camera and all that. That's why I've been, you know, for example, onedeen and all that, just being behind the camera. But I realized if you're not going to do it, then no one else will. You know what I mean? So I think just take initiative, put your trust in Allah and just go for it, wallah.
That was actually,
and you'd be surprised by how many people actually get inspired from it. And, you know, it can create a big impact,
And you know what's funny? That was the take home, because also on that event, we didn't even touch on this. I don't even know why, but we did the live panel, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We facilitated the live panel, the discussion on that day and stuff, you know? And that was an amazing, awesome experience, you know? Like at the start, it was somewhat ever so slightly like nerve-wracking. I wasn't like pissing myself, but like it was still like you're speaking in front of like a bunch of people, some people that you just completely don't know. After that day, bro, I walked away on a high. And the high was the fact that like, and Roger said this to us, Mo Social, on after the episode where he goes, hey, that next step of things that you do, you want to go tap into physically your audience, the people that you're around, the people that listen to you and stuff, you know? And it was nice to see brothers sort of on that day in person. At the end of that live panel, do you remember when I gave you like sort of like the shout out and stuff like that? I really meant that. And the message behind it, and I want to say it again as well, was how everyone wants to say they want to do something. Everyone has an idea, you know, but an idea that's not acted upon is just a dream. Yeah. And with you, and I was saying this to everyone else, is like, take this as like a lesson. If we take something away from this sort of event, where it's like, this event came as a result of someone's idea. The only difference between their idea and yours was they actioned it, and look where it brought us all in the same room together, you know? So, and that's something, bro, I took inspiration from myself personally, you know? We said this on like the Jahidu episode, where it's like, don't think, like thinking is the thing you want to do the least.
Yep.
Like think while you're doing, and then from there, like reassess how things sort of are, you know? So it's like, okay, do that 10K run, you know? Like, for example, like in recent times, you see that episode we did where we went and done it in the studio. We spoke about doing an episode where we're on the go and stuff, like ages. It's like something I've wanted to do for a while, you know? And then when we actually ended up doing it, look what ended up happening. Like it was a good reception. Like we enjoyed the conversation.
Yep.
And for us, it was something that was like enjoyable.
Yeah, it felt amazing trying something new.
Compared to just thinking about it in that moment, okay, we don't have a mic, we don't have lighting, the lighting might not be good and stuff like that. For all we know, it probably wasn't going to like turn out well.
Exactly. Before we showed up, we weren't even sure how we're going to set things up. We're like, oh, we're going to bring the equipment, but how's it going to fit? We had all these questions unanswered. But alhamdulillah, like you figure it out.
Facts, yeah.
You just got to do it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And big ups to Teddy as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Because I've been following his journey from a long time ago, back when he was on Facebook.
Yeah, bro, you got to give Teddy his flower. He's the OG in the game, bro. 100%. You know?
Wallahi.
Like we were kids when Teddy was doing his thing.
I was following him. He was posting quotes and funny things. And he said on that night, he's like, you will have haters out there. You just got to block the noise, you know, and you got to just continue on doing what you do, and the fruits will come from it. You know what I mean? So big shout out to him, wallahi. And he's a content creator that we can look up to as well, because of his consistency and what he's done for the community and bringing people together as well. So,
and not even that, bro. Like we're talking about Melbourne nowadays being like sort of fresh in the content creation and like on the global scale. Yeah. Think about it when he was producing vids and whatever content like 10 years ago, when the Janoskins and stuff were around. Like this guy is like proper like I remember after the event a day later or something like that, someone told me about like Teddy, how like whatever blah blah blah, you know, like, oh, Teddy was there, you know. I'm thinking Teddy's just one of the lads, you know.
Yeah.
And then after he goes, no, but like I remember watching Teddy like when he was like Ted Statics and stuff like that, you know. And I'm like, rah, like how cool must that be when you've like sort of, because we're all inspired, young kids, all of that kind of stuff. Like how cool must that be that you've kept consistent this whole time?
I think that's what makes it beautiful as well, because you see it like even with the UK, yeah, you see some of the brothers like Beta Squad and stuff, they've been around for like how many years, like 10 plus years of content.
Yeah.
And like they look back and obviously it's like embarrassing and hilarious and stuff, but you have to respect and admire like the
grind.
consistency.
The grind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just
Just always elevating, always continuing, and just remembering the big picture.
Did you see Nico's recent video?
nah.
Huh? You
The
see
arrested one, not yet.
the promo for the candy that he done, bro.
Candy.
Bro, he started a brand where he's selling like a candy or whatever. It's called what's it called?
Sweet something.
Sweets by Nico or something like that. Yeah, Sweets by Nico. Or, yeah, but anyway, this guy has to be one of the most creative. Like, watch that promo like later on or something like that. Maybe you should watch it just right now quickly.
What's it called?
Shades by Nico.
Shades.
Shades by Nico. Like, this guy is so creative. Allah about it. I gotta give it to him straight up. Like, his angle, his attack on things and whatnot, his sense of storyline as well. Because you know the glasses that he always wears all the time, the little green one or something like that. That's where the comment of Shades comes. But he tells like a story. He does a full like production behind it and stuff like that. But that's like my little ADHD, thing. But
No, but it's inspiring to always see that. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jahidul was saying on the other episode, and also other people have said as well, like Australia's like 5-6 years behind, and that's, to be honest, like it might sound like a disadvantage, but it can be an advantage because you see it across the other side of the world. You see what they're doing, and you think to yourself, okay, what does this community need? What can I do? And there's so many opportunities, and that's why, inshallah, like we're documenting by even just talking about what we're doing right now. We're going to look back at this in a few years and think, subhanallah.
talking about looking back, yeah, I remember one of Abshir's old videos on TikTok was starting to get like comments and stuff like that. And I know who those little are, the ones that are commenting, you know what I mean? Can't mention or something along those lines, yeah? Bro, think about it, even like with the podcast, it's almost 6 years, whatever, this July will be like 6 years and stuff, yeah? And then in those 6 years, which is almost like, what, a quarter of your life or whatever, or fifth of your life, has been somewhat on the internet. What ends up happening, that documentary process throughout the thing, you can see sort of like the somewhat like evolution. I forgot you broke your hand, cuz.
Oh, the wrist.
Yeah, the wrist.
Yeah,
remember when you
that was
broke your
ages
wrist?
ago,
He
playing
used to
soccer.
walk around just like this the whole time. You
It was
know what I
a
mean?
big
You see
cast,
the progress,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you like a small little example. You see Ali's got this little haircut right now going, yeah?
Little haircut. It is, bro. It's facts. Yeah.
Guess what? At the start of the year, I think what it was, I was going through the Google Drive and stuff, trying to make some space and whatnot. He had tied back hair.
Yeah, the
It's like
long hair.
It's like almost like two different people. The Bahadon episode, I had that little, who's that guy from Simpsons where he's got the little hair, crazy hair going and stuff like that. You boys are dirty as well. You should have told me to cut that hair ages ago.
Your hair?
Yeah, the old,
Us?
that other one that I was like rocking and stuff.
Is that why you're wearing a cap most of the time?
Yeah, some episodes, yeah, I had
Yeah.
to.
And honestly, guys who's watching this, try find the episode where Weli's wearing the overalls.
Oh,
You need to see that.
You'll get a shout out
Honestly,
next episode.
That's the thing as well. Like we're seeing how the way we dress over the years,
Yeah.
and it's not just months. Yeah,
Well,
it's years. So
by the way, let me just preface that a bit. I didn't dress like that. I dressed for the occasion like that. I came onto the episode
oh my
like
God.
specifically. Like we had some. I miss those days, man.
Some funny clothes choices. Yeah.
Yeah, but even like the ideas and stuff, because like I think the idea behind it was somewhat. Yeah. Anyway, let's just. I don't even.
No,
don't
it's
don't
just-
find that episode.
It's funny to look back at, man. This
Someone finds I'm private.
What would you say has been like the biggest change for you guys over the last 5 years, 6 years, in terms of podcasting, and what have you improved on, or have you been static on the same thing?
I think it's more of not thinking about myself in the conversation, especially when, like, in terms of guests. Yeah, thinking about the guest the mostly. Yeah, how can I make this guest more comfortable? How can I create a deeper connection with this guest? Not just getting, clips from the long form content, and just also outside the podcast after hours, connecting with the person, trying to find these deep conversations. Yeah.
I think thinking about myself, the complete opposite to him.
Okay.
Where,
Wow.
like, how do I say? It's the weirdest thing looking back and having to listen to your own episodes, And obviously, I edit some of the clips and the episodes sometimes, and you're forced to have to do that. And I hate it with like everything in me. Like it just, I don't know how do you describe that feeling. Some people don't mind it. You get used to it. You don't get me wrong, but what ends up happening is because you're forced to do that, you get a level of like awareness, So you start to realize, like, I used to say stuff like, I still do it, my articulation isn't the best, Like when I used to say stuff like, you know what I mean, and that's it, or like 100%, like little stuff, you know. And now I'm saying, you know, that's my current phrase. So what ends up happening is, because you're forced to do that, and it's like an ugly truth that's like just in your face, it's like a blessing in disguise, because what ends up happening, you sort of like level up like on top of that, rather than just being like, okay, that's just sort of the way that I am. But then on top of that as well, it's similar to what Ali said, it's like the network, man. Like the sole thing that makes this whole thing enjoyable is having conversations that we enjoy, and we've picked out to have those conversations, you know, because we could easily have it off camera, in which we do, and the episodes or the conversations that happen off camera tend to often be 10 times better. Like Jack, for example, we did whatever, the 1 hour episode with him, then the 2 hours or whatever, an hour and a half off the podcast, and we were all dying from that, you know. And if it wasn't for a time restricted aspect of it, we wouldn't have like sort of like got off that, you know. So those are the things I think like you remember sort of the most, you know.
And you can look back and just think about all the amazing people who have sat on this couch, and the amount of like gems they've spat as well.
It's so inspired, you know what I mean? Like you walk away and then, and the other thing as well is, you know, when how we pick out those certain like guests and whatnot is, we often, majority of the time, when I say majority, like literally majority, we retain that connection with that guest. It's not, hey, that person's come on and then we've, let's say, used them for their platform, or it's not transactional. When they come on, it's like, okay, cool. How can you then impact my life personally?
Exactly.
And hopefully the goal is to create a conversation where we're everyday people, progress not perfection, and someone can walk away and benefit from that conversation, right? Because that's the sort of the content, I guess, we consume. That's the other thing. But the other thing is, bro, the only thing that matters is the consistency aspect, you know? And we'll be going back to like weekly content.
Yeah.
You know? But I was going to say another thing. This is to the audience, yeah? I've been wanting to say this for a minute. And this is on our behalf. Please, if you're listening to this part, and maybe Ahmed, we clip this and then we put it like at random parts of the clip, and maybe even at the start of the episode. Guys, help us reach our goal of getting to 20,000 before the end of the year. And to do that, you're going to have to click the subscribe button. And also just for our engagement, make sure to like it. Well, if you're not liking it, then what can I wish upon? No, I'm joking. Listen, just like it, share it. And if you enjoy it, let us know, because it will be appreciated. But the most important thing is give us a subscribe, you know.
We might as well finish it up there, man.
Yeah, I thought you were going to finish it.
That was like perfect.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, not really, bro. I don't want to really end the conversation.
I think
Let me just. Well, you're not rushing like that, yeah?
Bro, let's talk about
Yeah.
when Willy's going to start his BJJ personal brand. You've been saying that for a while now, bro.
I actually haven't at all.
Yeah, you have.
Have I ever said I'll start a BJJ
you
personal
said you
brand?
were, like documenting and stuff.
Oh, okay.
You're like
That's different. Yeah.
your competitions and stuff. I'm not saying like daily vlogs. I'm saying just
Content.
mentioning your journey in terms of fitness and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I want to, bro. I was actually trying to start like this week, actually, you know. I was trying to get some videos, compilations of certain people and whatnot. I want to, man.
Inshallah,
but I guess it's weird, you know, because I don't know about you, but like as much as like enjoy having the conversation stuff, but I don't like there being on camera. It's like a weird thing. So I'm not that I care about it at all or anything, but I want to start. It's just a matter of just starting. That's why that advice that hits me the most. Don't think. Not that I overthink about the process, but it's just that I just lack action, and that lack of action comes from the lack of routine. You know, and that was the thing I took away from the early hours thing, you know. With the early hours, I've realized the hack to a good day is tackling your morning.
Yeah.
You know, to have a good day is to have a good morning. You know, and that's something I've actually really been trying to do like recently. That's why I got into running. You know, but I didn't get into running. I think running is the gayest thing in the world. sorry, not like.
Hey, he said a full-hearted, bro.
Yeah.
This guy moved forward. There, it's the gayest thing in the
Think
world.
about it. Like, what are you just running? Like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I think it's like
It's fighting the mind, bro.
that's
It's
but
a
that's
mental battle.
that's what I love about running.
Yeah.
You know,
But I only see that when it comes to like competitions and challenges and marathons. You're
no.
trying to.
Okay, do this right now then, yeah? Just today, find a period of your time and stuff like that. Start running, bro. Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a mental battle.
It's always a mental battle. And then obviously the longer you've run, the condition to yourself to, like Ali probably, maybe the more kilometers he does, he gets to that sort of like brick wall. What ends up happening is like you don't want to do it, you know. But the thing, I'll tell you why this is, because obviously I've been trying to start my mornings early. And you remember like with the Atomic Habits book, yeah, is that concept of like habit stacking. To like sort of create a habit, do something that you want to do and something that you don't want to do, and combine it together to sort of like make it fun, you know. So like with the running, it's like I enjoy the fitness aspect and the mental clarity that I'll get from it, because that, you know, that runner's high that you get sort of afterwards, it's like it's lit. Then, and the thing that I need to do, which is start my morning early, obviously Fajr and like all of that kind of stuff, you go combine those two things together, boom, you got like a recipe for it. That's where like sort of like the running is like come into like place. And going back to your point though earlier on, is once you start to attack that sort of morning, it literally has not only a follow effect on your day, but like the rest of your life, you know, because now that week is sort of like planned. You know, this morning, this is how it's going to be. You got work there, but cool. Now you can execute things. But I'm in that phase where it's like, I'm attacking that day and nothing more than that, you know?
Yeah, I like the aspect of like you can get so much done in the morning. Imagine you go for a run, you go to the gym, you write some stuff in your journal or whatever, and then and then you go to work, and then all of a sudden you got the whole evening to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Yes, so impactful. But like with the running, I'm not against running or anything, but
You are, but yeah.
The
one time where
You're racist.
Now the one time I was very consistent with running was, I think, 2.5 years ago, just off COVID. I think everyone got into running during COVID.
Course, yeah,
You're a beast then, bro.
But for me, it was like, I saw some video on TikTok, and it was about the 2-mile run that the people do in the US Army or something, and there was like a time limit. And I'm like, you know, I have to hit this target. I think it was like 13 something for like elite runners, 3.2 kilometers.
Yeah.
And I would just challenge myself every single day, and I found love in it back then. But
Did you see that David Goggins video with Israel Adesanya?
I just saw snippets, but I haven't really actually watched it.
The guy's ridiculous. You seen it?
I seen random clips of it. I seen Izzy on the
Vomiting?
Stairmaster and then falling off, and the people helping him up and stuff. What do you think of that?
That's crazy.
I think David Goggins needs to find purpose in life. He's lit and everything. I like the mentality, like sort of behind it. But it goes to show, I've seen people like bashing Israel Adesanya for it, like, oh, this guy's weak and all that kind of stuff. But it's no, this guy's in a different complete sport.
That's a thing.
You know, like his conditioning level and his like tank is not the same as like David Goggins. You know, it's like for example, like the cardio levels difference between like basketball and like soccer, for example, or like fighting is a beautiful example. You know, it's all short spurt. You know, you got 5 minutes, all of that, compared to this guy who's just running for the lols. You know, everyone
trains for something different. You know, like let me tell you something funny that happened last year. There was some, mashallah, he's jacked at the gym, and we all have banter, you know, just laughing and stuff. We're like, oh, I'm faster than you, bro. You're not even fit, whatever. Obviously I was a bit fluffy, even more fluffy back then, but like, I'm faster than you. This guy looks ripped. He's got abs and everything. And I was faster than him.
You were faster than him, yeah.
100 meter.
Yeah, size doesn't matter.
It's just different. Like you train for a certain thing, and then, you know, like me playing soccer, I'll be more quicker in a short distance compared to long distance, because for soccer you only need to train for like short distance running, you know.
Yeah.
So in that case, like Adesanya is not built for, you know, that capacity of fitness and endurance.
You know, looking back at David Goggins, because we loved him at the start. I still love the overall like arching concept of like David Goggins, like mentality. You know, work on your weaknesses and stuff like that. You know, it's like almost like the Mamba mentality thing right there. After a while, do you think it's toxic now? Now when people like look back at it, because who even said it in an episode? I think it was Jack actually, when he was speaking about how when it comes to diet, we now need a bit more empathy. You know, because there's multiple factors. Like when I heard that, I was like, I agree, it's true. You can't just look at someone and be like, oh yeah, you're fat, and that's the reason they're fat for it. There's multiple factors. You know, I mean, they might have an illness or something along those lines. You know, cultural, all that kind of stuff. You know, it might be like a money situation. They can't afford good food and like whatever. So you need like a little bit more empathy. In the moment I said that, because like he swayed me. Yeah. was like, Jack's a good speaker. Later on, I was thinking, no, that only applies for women, you know? Like, they're allowed, you know?
Yeah.
But as a guy...
As a man. Yeah, I think he lives that life. Jack lives that life. He's a dietitian. Nutritionist, sorry. And, you know, he's going through that every day. But, like, in my point of view, I think there is a market for those type of people, but...
Which one's that? Like,
as in, like...
The fat people?
Just in general, yeah. People who can't commit to something, you know what I mean? When it comes to dieting.
Yeah.
Because money is a factor.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, wallah.
It is.
Dieting's not cheap, bro. You're trying to buy 4 kilos of diced lamb meat. It's expensive, man. Means, yeah.
But it all goes back to, guess what? And this is why I think maybe empathy, whatever, cool, is conquer your mornings. Conquer your days. Create a routine. You create a routine, hold yourself to some sort of standard, boom, from there, execute. And this is for the factors I'm talking about that we can control. You know, like that's within our realm, where it's like we're healthy, alhamdulillah, no disease and like all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about for the everyday joys. So for anyone that comes to me and tries attacking me for this, it's like I'm talking about if you're fat and you have control over your life, that's a different scenario, you know?
But in general, I think it's soft, man.
It is.
I think people are just being soft. Naima Roberts said on this podcast a couple of years ago, she's like, if you're stuck, if you're in a rut, just change your perspective. She's like, just take yourself out of that, out of earth, and then just look at yourself from a bird's eye view, and just judge yourself, I guess.
Yeah, analyze everything.
If you genuinely fix your routine, your perspective on different things, wallahi, anything's achievable. Wallahi, it's just, I think I'm being soft. I'll say it myself. I'm soft, and a lot of us are soft. Yeah, so I don't know how that's funny, but
it's not funny, was it?
Yeah, but I think if you just change your perspective and you dial in, wallahi, anything's achievable, man.
But, yeah, go.
No, I was going to say the perspective thing. He's right about that. Yeah. Because the first thing people don't do is say, "Hey, I'm soft." You know,
acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah, the acceptance. It's just like acceptance. It's everything else.
Yeah, we blame external. Always.
Yeah, but my actual what my hands have done. You know,
correct.
That's true. I think honestly, we got ChatGPT as well. We can easily use it in terms of being able to take that step back and analyze what's going on in your life. Like there's so many prompts now people are posting about in terms of nutrition, training. It doesn't have to be exact, but at least gives you the idea to start thinking in a different way and in the actual way that you want to move towards.
But does it also make you think not everyone is built for it? Like, if you're not an athlete or you're not playing a sport, do you have to be fit? Do you have to be jacked? Yeah, there's health benefits to everything. Of course, you want to stay healthy and whatever, but I think not everyone needs to be healthy and fit. You know,
I agree. Not everyone needs to be to the level of David Goggins and stuff. You know, and this is why I feel like David Goggins can pull the handbrake just a little bit. But I think people also got to look past David Goggins and just take the principle that he might be preaching and stuff, you know, that in some ways, even our religion, gives us sort of opinion, you know, it's holding yourself to a high standard, you know, and if you fall short from that standard, similar to what Naima Roberts said, you know, it's cool. It's not because of you. It could be for a million factors. Look at things from a different perspective, pick yourself up, redirect and move on, rather than having that quicksand type of effect where it's oh, I'm stuck, cool, and because I'm not moving and I'm going deeper in, you know. So I think the overall principle of mental fortitude, our days are numbered. Yesterday happened, cool. There's a tomorrow, hopefully, inshallah. And if there isn't, then try live your best today and keep pushing forward. You know, that's the other thing where it's so the other thing is, to answer your question, should we be an athlete and all that kind of stuff? No, but we should want the best for ourselves, and our best for ourselves should be immediately what we can control, sort of in that moment, you know. And now we're in a day, bro, and I catch myself with this. It goes back to the early run, the morning things. Yeah, a lot of the things I do is dictated by my desires. You know, my desires being, hey, I wouldn't mind actually. It's sleeping in a little longer. You know, maybe there's something of priority that I need to get done this week. But what ends up happening is I'm kicking with the boys. That affects that one night, and it creates a sort of pattern. You know, it's you don't need to be a David Goggins or like a Ronaldo, or like these guys that we look on social media and think, oh, these guys are lit. But it's like we want to be like to some degree the best version of ourselves, you know.
Yeah. I don't want to go back on my words, but like even like the general science that say like the more fitter you are, the more healthier you eat, the more you get out of your life, the more impactful you are. So in a way, yes, we should be at that average, I guess.
Yeah, fine. And that effect you have on the people that like sort of like around you. Like you remember when we were talking about we want to get this person on an episode and we're discussing it, and then after I was like, no, we actually should get this person on.
Yeah, definitely get on.
And it's like a female guest or whatnot, you know. And the reason behind that was going back to it, it's like being the best version of yourself. I seen a TikTok once. It said something about if you go to the masjid and you go look at the female side of the masjid, yeah, especially like I guess in the Somali community and whatnot, you'll think, and I haven't been to the female side, but you'll think it's like the elderly section, because what ends up happening is like our female members, sorry, they don't run and they don't have these opportunities, and that's because the standard hasn't been set for them in that sense.
Exactly.
And your environment, you're dictated by somewhat of your environment. So what ends up happening is now they get morbidities, they get injured, they can't like live the fruits of life because of the fact that of everyone that's surrounded around them. So it's like, should we have that standard? 100%, because that standard then affects your mum. How nice would it be, bro? Like if your mum lives a long life and she's healthy, you don't have to worry about anything related to like cardiovascular disease or like anything related to like an injury of like a lower leg and stuff.
Well,
you know, there's no, and that came because of the fact that, cool, your mum is worried about everything else, food, this, that, business, money, this, that, her husband, your dad, cool, if he's your dad, if he's stepdad, or anyway, but but what ends up happening is now her son is then caring for her. You know, he wants the best for her because he knows what good is.
Yeah, it's not only longevity, but it's the quality of your life, yeah? We think about using 1 hour in our day for exercise is going to enhance the quality of all the other hours in our day, yeah? And then obviously translate to the rest of the week and months, yeah? And then we think about overall energy and being our best self in terms of just like, you know, not clogged up in our mind and our thoughts and that, you know, living the life, being very happy and positive as well. Our energy matters with the people around us, yeah? So for example, I come to the podcast today, my energy matters. Yeah, it's gonna transfer to you guys. My energy matters when I transfer going to the early runs. Imagine I rock up and I'm tired and I don't talk to anyone. They'll think, what the heck is going on?
Dead haps, man.
Exactly. So it's like, it's so important. We go to the network events. They're like, oh, podcast boys, just in the studios. And then it's like, you're not being social or you're not being yourself. That's why I think a lot of people probably haven't seen the opportunity of training often, or even just incorporating training in their life, and how much it can enhance the quality in terms of energy, just mental clarity. I think those are the very important things when it comes to having exercise in your lifestyle.
Yeah, and seeing your overall like potential as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The things that you can. So yeah, I'll put this out to everyone out there. Like I will say to myself first, just.
What's it? Your mic. Your mic, sorry.
Oh, was it bad?
Yeah. Just fix it up.
Whispering, bro.
What's wrong with the mic?
Yeah, bring it closer, like as in.
Like this?
Yeah.
Oh, was he saying it?
Yeah, because you're just talking straight ahead.
Oh, okay.
Just a heads up.
Yeah, so I want to put a challenge out to people out there. Just and I'll say it to myself first. I think just get out of that comfort and seek discomfort, like Ashraf says. If it's fitness goals, just go for it. If it's content creation or wanting to put yourself out there, just do it, man. What's the worst that can happen? Wallahi, and you can always fall back on things. So,
when's the last time you guys have done something that was uncomfortable?
I think for me, public speaking. Look, wallah, I'm not really scared of public speaking, but just over the last couple of years, because I haven't done it for so long, I was a bit nervous, and I was kind of stuttering as well on that last event, but I feel comfortable. So I would say the public speaking, talking in front of an audience, but now I can go and speak in front of like 500 people if I have to.
Eesh.
Yeah, I'm that confident.
You're keen.
I'm like, you know what? Just put yourself out there, man.
Facts, that's true.
So you know what's funny? You said that you were so-called stuttering at the event. The funny thing is, I was there. I don't remember it,
Okay.
and that's the blessing, yeah. Because a lot of people are not gonna remember it because so many things are happening in their days. It's like, yeah, they might hear it in the moment, but then it's not a big deal. It's not as big of a deal in your head. And that's the same thing with me, because public speaking as well. Like I did the panel with Weli, I didn't prepare myself, so I didn't talk as much. Maybe I looked calm anyway. I was fine. I wasn't super nervous, but in terms of being underprepared, can also not give the 100% energy that you'd like to give.
Yeah.
For an opportunity. Yeah.
And I ask myself, like, why? Like, what is it that is stopping you from being confident, doing a great job? And I think it was just what people would say and how people look at you and judge you. And wallahi, when I changed my perspective on that and not care about what people say and just doing what you're gonna do, bro, everything just felt smooth for me. And now I'm so confident I can go talk to people. Alhamdulillah, I can go lead things, do workshops and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's a big factor.
It all goes back to that act first, think later thing. Whereas if you do it in reverse, it's like, think, what would people think? Okay, and depending on that, what am I going to do? If you act like that, then nothing good comes from it.
So true.
Naturally so, you're limited. It's like that limited mentality that gets created from that.
Yeah, what about for you?
No, Ali hasn't got his one yet.
Okay.
No, mine was
Doing something uncomfortable. What's something you've done recently uncomfortable?
recently uncomfortable. Wow, he's putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I would say like the live panel to an extent is uncomfortable because even though I didn't feel nervous, we haven't done it before properly, like for the podcast. So it is unfamiliar territory with us. And in terms of preparation and, giving, because like the conversation we're having today is so much different to what we gave on the panel. Yeah.
Mm.
And so to be able to show people in public on a stage what we're about and showing our brand to like its full potential, it takes time because it does feel a bit odd. It does feel a bit uncomfortable because it's something you're not used to.
Facts.
So I guess like you guys said, just doing it and getting it done. Like I think after that panel as well, I realized like it wasn't that deep. Like
Nah, like that's the craziest part. Yeah, it really isn't that deep.
You feel like you could give more, yeah?
But then also like whatever thoughts you might have in your head naturally, because we're not used to doing it, we realized afterwards when it was done, it was like, yeah, that was calm. It was like, what was I thinking about?
Yeah. Like you said to me as well, like looking from the outside, I feel like you guys done everything very well. Like it was so smooth. Like Weli was saying at the start, like there was a bit of nerves and stuff, but
I lied about that. It wasn't really
very
nerves.
normal. There was nothing wrong with it. Like there was no nerves.
Yeah, facts. No, I didn't have nerves. Nerves sounds like I was anxious. You know what I mean? I wasn't like anxious of it. But you know what it is? It's like sometimes when you in life you make things bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? As in, like even just like rocking up to that event, you're thinking, okay, cool. There's an event on Saturday night happening, When in reality, you can just look at it, going back to the perspective thing with Naima Roberts, where you can just look at it, it's just like, it's just a small little thing. I'm going to just see a couple of boys. Some I know, some I don't. Just like, just kick it and all that kind of stuff. Whereas beforehand, it's like big anticipation, blah, blah, blah. Then you realize it's never that deep, cuz, And this is the thing as well, with the whole, going back to the ambitious nature, the discipline thing and whatnot. In saying all of that and striving for excellence and being the best version of yourself, I think there's a level of, what's the word, spontaneity or spontaneity? You know what I'm trying to say? Spontaneity, yes. Where there's a level of that's required in order to like somewhat enjoy your life. You can't be completely, and this is why I hate diets, yeah? Where, no offense, Jack and stuff. And true. He actually said this on the podcast, where you don't want to be dictated by the diet, you want to dictate the diet.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with sort of like life as well, It's like, hey, I don't want to go run because of the fact that it's going to be this rigid thing where I've got to force myself to, I want to go run because of the fact that it's going to increase my barakah in my day. Or I want to go run because of the fact that I want to get fit. It's like a thing, habit stacking. It's like something you want to do because of the benefits it will bring to your life,
Yep. Saying that, from now that you guys have done that panel, do you think it's more challenging to talk in front of an audience that you know of, like familiar faces in the crowd, or is it better to speak to like an audience that you've never seen before?
People never seen before is always easier.
Why?
I think because there's always that illusion, but it's twofold. You can always make a good first impression, and this is your chance to,
Yeah.
you know. But whereas with the people that like are in the crowd already, they'll already have an opinion.
That's
you know
so
what I mean?
true, yeah.
Like someone could look at me as like the BJJ guy or the smiley guy or the tall guy. Like there's opinion that's already been like created. Whereas with someone like in a crowd or whatever, they'll look at it and they'll be like, like, or it could be the complete opposite, like, boo, get off. You know, it's like that type of thing. So I don't know. I feel like you can always do it to them.
What about you, Ali?
I don't know. I think when it comes to talking in front of a crowd that people know, subconsciously you think, oh, these guys don't take me serious, or like they're gonna say like certain comments. You know, naturally, because you have like you know those boys. Obviously, it's like you mess around and stuff as a joke. We do it as well to our mates. It's like that's how guys are, yeah.
Yeah.
But then it stays in your head sometimes, naturally, especially something you don't do often, like a panel or public speaking. I would prefer to do it to a crowd that I don't know.
Well, do you agree with that?
I'm a bit of both, I guess.
Yeah.
That first impression is very important, and it's good as well. But at the same time, like, I like the feedback. Like when the boys that you know come to you and say, "Hey, you killed it. You did well in that."
Do you thrive off that you killed it, or do you thrive off, hey, nah, this needs a little bit of work?
A bit of both, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because it gives me that confidence and energy for next time as well. And then when people give me that negative feedback, look, it can put you down a little bit, but it's like, oh shit, I got to work on it now. You know what I mean? Excuse the language, yeah.
No, and I think it's the way the feedback is said, you know, in terms of like how constructive it is. If I was to say, hey, what do you call it? The live panel was run so like terribly, you know, compared to, hey, I think this would be a nice addition to the panel, you know, you're saying the exact same thing, you're just saying it differently, you know?
That's so true. I think, yeah, it depends on the situation as well, because with that live panel we had, there was a lot of speakers on there, you know, respectfully, everyone wants to have their say as well. And
we tried making sure as well.
Correct, because when we're getting questions, everyone's getting a question like, who do we ask, you know what I mean? So I think if...
Someone asked Tawfiq's scent, bro, like his skincare routine. I said, bro, that's some sus behavior from some of the audience.
Bro, it's guaranteed one of the boys we know, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Taking the piss, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Putting us on the spot, bro. We're trying to.
I was going to ask that question. Well, sorry, continue.
No, but yeah, if it was a smaller... if there was only like a few people up there, guest speakers, and it was the two of you, I think you'd have more opportunity to speak, engage, ask a question like that, you know what I mean? But when there's a lot of people and we're on a time as well, on a time limit, then it's like you just got to ask a question, that's it.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference as well. And if you're by yourself or if you're with someone else as well.
But with someone usually helps.
On the panel?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Facts, 100%.
Variety.
I've got a question for you guys. Who are you guys currently inspired by? Or their work?
That's a good question. I think from a motivational perspective, I would say Alex Hormozi. You guys, I've been saying that to you guys for almost a year now. He always gives me that drive. I go to work, get a bit of an adrenaline rush from what he says. He talks about business and all that, but like just the energy he has and the consistency is what kind of pushes me and inspires me to keep doing.
Has he said something that stood out to you?
He said something on a podcast about the regret of being in the same spot after a certain amount of time, I think, and looking back and like, it's like, what have you done? So what do you have to lose? That's what I thrive off. So it's like now the way I live is I just take action, to be honest with you. Okay. I say, oh, look, I want to do an event, just go do it. Or like there's been times where I've done workshops or events or whatever, and I'm kind of panicking because I'm like, damn, this hasn't been done or this hasn't been done. But I'm like, you know what? Like, you know, obviously with faith, like I leave my trust in Allah, and I'm like, you know what? Khalas. And wallah, everything just falls into place. Like I got some positive feedback from some brothers from the last event. They're telling me like, it seems like you stress a lot because you put a lot on yourself and you don't delegate as much. We're here to help you. But then again, like I feel like I don't want to make that a burden. I don't want to put a burden on other people. So So I got to really kind of look into that and be like, okay, as a leader, you got to be able to delegate more. So moving forward, I would obviously try and delegate, get more people involved, and you know, it makes things more easier for you. But yeah, I would say Alex Hormozi had an impact on me.
The 4-Hour Workweek, bro. That book, one of the greatest books of all time. That's the number one concept in that book, like delegation. You get far and you work with people, but it's a skill to have. It's not a thing that you can, because just imagine I told you, hey, what I just grabbed me that, like the can of Coke or whatever, compared to, hey, can you help me move this? And there's like a way of saying it. There's a way of addressing it. Like, it's almost like a leadership skill in a sense, you know. But obviously the 4-Hour Workweek is like, how can I work the least amount while having the most impactful week possible? You know, this whole thing about productivity and like tackling our weeks, tackling our days. That's essentially what the book highlights, you know.
And surprisingly, there's people out there who actually want to help you, who have time, you know.
Definitely.
And you just got to be able to just go and ask. If they say they can't do it, then at least you asked. You know, like
Correct.
There's no loss there.
Or if they've asked, don't have that like negative perception. Like you can see what you can get out of that. You know what I mean? Like what can come from that. And the other thing is the most valuable currency is time. So now you've got more time to do X, Y, and Z, you know?
What about you, bro?
That's
Someone that inspires you?
currently, who inspires me? No one. But there's a reason behind that as well, Loki. You remember at the start of the year, who did I start off this year listening to heavy? Hormozi. You know, and there was like two things that like sort of like stood out. And one of those things is the reason why like I sort of don't consume any, like if it comes on my feed and I see it, cool, ID. But I don't go out of my way of just like going to go listen to that, yeah? One of those ones was like the concept, I said this to you at the start when you came back from Pakistan.
Oh, you said it was fine, bro.
But when you came back from Pakistan, what ended up happening what ended up happening was, you remember that conversation about productive pornography?
Yeah.
Where it was like, he goes, a lot of people, they consume this like productive content, these gurus and thing, and it gives them a sense of, hey, I'm doing something. You know, I've taken that sort of first step, which is true. But what are the steps they've taken straight after that first step? Which is nothing. You know, and then what ends up happening is like, I guess similar to like actual pornography, you get this like buzz or this dopamine of you're actually doing something. When in reality, it's like similar to, you know, when you tell someone, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, telling him your goals or aspirations, yeah.
Correct, because it gives you that sense of, hey, I've done something. Similar to this thing, it's like, okay, cool, this person is saying something I relate to. He's giving me this whole like game plan. And that leads into like that other first point which I took away from him, which was, if you do something for one whole calendar year consistently, like from like one calendar year to another calendar year. So let's just say today, what is it, the 6th of May or something? You do it till next year, 6th of May. See how much you can actually get done in that time, but you do the exact same thing over and over again. You know, later on, you're going to see like a mountain of like results. And you ask yourself, what's something I've done for a year straight without like stopping? Other than work, like anything that's like somewhat of a necessity. It doesn't. So it's like, how much do what we want to do, does it really mean to us?
Yeah.
You know, we might take a break here, this, that. It's like even the podcast, when we're doing the best, it was when we recorded 43 out of 52 episodes in a year.
Yeah,
You
when
know?
those weekly episodes. Yeah.
When it was like weekly episode consistently and stuff.
That's amazing, yeah.
You know? So if you do one thing and you do it for one whole year straight, look at the next year and mark it off in sort of like that calendar.
And I remember you were even saying about getting your dopamine from taking action, not from consuming.
Facts.
And I think
And
that's
not
important
thinking,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag I'm going to get a new hashtag now. Hashtag don't think.
Just do.
That's true.
What were yours, bro?
Red
Got a little red circle on, red table.
table, yeah.
What
I
about,
have the talking toy, you know.
Did
You
you-
don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
do you just want to go?
Okay. So someone that So I'll say someone that inspires me currently is I'm not sure if you guys know a guy, apart from Weli, a guy from the UK called George Heaton. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He
No.
owns a brand called Represent.
Is he a runner?
He's a runner as well, does high rocks. So obviously you see a lot of people doing clothing brands, yeah? And you don't see much else of their life. They're just like, okay, he owns a clothing brand. But this guy is traveling the world, obviously very successful business as well. But on top of that, every single day he's documenting on Instagram, on social media, that he's training every single morning, and it's like serious training. It's like marathon training. You're talking like high rocks, CrossFit type training. And this is a guy that's traveling the world every single week, but he's still showing up no matter what's happening in his life.
Wow.
And it's not just basic workouts, it's like marathon type training, yeah? And that's phenomenal in itself. But his clothing brand and stuff like that, I don't even like know too much about that. But I just highly respect the man that goes every day showing up no matter what's happening in his life, the feelings, situation. You know, we know about traveling as well. We just buy all the training and nutrition. We don't care anymore. But this guy's like got $1 billion company. He can do whatever he wants when he travels, right? He can stay there as long as he wants. Yeah, he still wakes up at an early hour doing intense training. It's all set out and he shows up. And that's what I highly respect about that. And that's definitely something I inspire to do in my life, because obviously working a 9 to 5, you can still translate that into your lifestyle no matter what you do. So yeah.
That hit me nicely, man.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal.
I have a question on that. I was actually going to ask this. Yeah. What's with people's obsession with hybrid training and being a hybrid athlete nowadays?
I think it's got to do like looking and seeking for more than just lifting weights. Because if you see the general bodybuilding culture when it comes to that type of training, it seems very stagnant in a way. Obviously, it's lifting heavy is very difficult in itself.
Yeah.
But I think people like the idea of having cardio-based weight training
Yeah.
and getting the heart working and like getting the heart rate up.
Which is important.
And exactly, and obviously improving the running at the same time. I think people are liking the balance, and they're seeing the benefit in terms of like longevity instead of just wanting to get big and that's it. So I think that's actually getting really popular, because you're even seeing a lot of people I used to watch when I was younger just doing solely gym. They're all doing running events now, man. Like everyone's getting into it because they're seeing the benefit of the balanced fitness lifestyle, not just going one end and lifting weights and that's it.
Facts.
Yeah.
I asked that because one of my mates asked me, hey, should we do a high rocks comp this year?
I'm doing it this year.
You're going to do one?
Inshallah, December. I'm doing it with one of the
Who's your partner?
guys I work with.
Oh, cool.
Oh, damn.
Thank you.
Nice invite, yeah.
Yeah. Mickey.
I didn't know you want to do it, bro. Are you still going down?
It's a thought that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker, man.
You should still do it, bro. It's in December. It's
Yeah.
doubles though.
Yeah, I'm going to do it inshallah.
Get one of the boys, one of the guys that doesn't rock up to the run club
Yeah,
to
cool.
this day. Yeah.
I'm going to get the one that invited me.
Yeah.
Asked me to do it with him.
We're gonna start competing, yeah?
Yeah.
Running and then just bumping each other.
Hashtag Mohammed's room.
Yeah. All right. If you guys want to check out what Barisa's doing, inshallah, the next networking event, it will be at Sunnah Studios on socials, and also the other videos at onedeen. And inshallah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe.